Hello, everybody. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk,
And I'm your host, TJ Cornwell.
and tonight we are back on Planet Film Live talking about all things The Last of Us Season 2. We are going to be mainly talking about The Last of Us Season 2, episodes 1 through 6, which is everything that has been out yet. And yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, we got Mission Impossible coming up tomorrow. That TJ and I are going to be going to and definitely reviewing and discussing on the channel, probably reviewing it next week. But yeah, TJ, how have things been going? A little bit of a less packed show tonight, I would say, after trying to talk about all 12 hours of Andor last week.
Yeah. No, things have been pretty good. Like I was telling you earlier, I've been rewatching, trying to rewatch Mission Impossible before tomorrow. I'm going to fall a tad short just because I don't foresee myself having 4 to 5 hours tonight to watch Fallout and Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I might watch Dead Reckoning just as like a refresher, just because like I've only seen it the one time when it came out in 2023.
Yeah, that'd probably be most helpful.
Yeah. On what I will say that kind of surprised me on rewatch, and I asked you if it was an unpopular opinion. MI3, I think it's better than Ghost Protocol, honestly. I think it can be a toss-up, but Ghost Protocol, the villain wise, is just so meh. And Philip Seymour Hoffman is just so good in Mission Impossible 3 that I really think it kind of evens the playing field there. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's on screen for like 10 minutes, and he just every minute he's on screen is just amazing.
He dominates.
Yeah.
She called you Ethan.
Yeah, just that like drone of like, he just like talks like it's like he doesn't care what happens. He's gonna kill you, whatever happens.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That he's like either he's like a drone or he's just droning on, but he's got that perfect like monotone, everything just falls off of him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's got that whole vibe throughout the whole movie that it's just like he rolls with the punches. He either knew what was gonna happen or just acts well enough, like knows what was gonna happen. He is so good.
I would say the only person that rivals is Sean Harris's lane in their both his dialogue and the way he speaks in the movie.
Yeah. That's real. All right, let's go ahead and jump over. We are going to start things off, which we didn't have time for last week, or maybe we did do one last week. Yeah, we did do one last week. We're going to jump on over to we're going to do a movie grid to start off the show, which is just a fun little internet movie game that we like to play. Everybody watching right now, looks like we got 6 people watching. Give us some answers in the chat. We try not to look at the answers in chat, but if we are completely struggling, we will go over to the chat to take a look. Also, I don't know if anybody has seen or not, but our background is not sick. It's normally pink. I just decided to go with a little green, a little turquoise for Last of Us. Decided to switch it up. And it's nice that you could switch on StreamYard now. Like you can switch the background like that without having to make a whole new overlay. Like I didn't have to do anything to the overlay. Which
this is just I know I've said it before, or we've said it before, but this has come so far.
It's just night and day.
First started to use it in 2020, I think.
Yeah, that was literally static image in the background.
Yeah,
and 2 squares on top of it. That was it.
Right.
That was the only thing that you could do. All right, let's get to a little reminisce there about StreamYard, but good for them. Let's get over to the movie grid. Who do you want to start with? This is like what?
I don't know. Some help on Eva Mendes. I don't know if I can name anything for her, honestly. If I'm being completely honest.
Also, I did forget to say, if you guys want to, usually keep it to about a minute. We do have a call-in link below. So later in the show, when we're talking Last of Us, if you want to give us your thoughts, you can go ahead and click that. It's in the description below.
So let's say, let's do Chalamet. I feel like that's the easiest.
Okay.
Let's see, released from 2005 to 2025. So that could be a lot of things. What about like, do you think like The King would be like a lower one?
I feel like The King would be lower, but I really feel like we did this before for someone else. I think Don't Look Up is like.
Okay. Yep.
I don't think anybody remembers that he is in that.
There we go. Okay.
Maybe The King would be less. Maybe 4.7 is a little higher than I thought. Actually,
Yeah, I think you could do Interstellar as well.
Yeah,
I mean, he's kind of he's a smaller role in that.
Mm-hmm.
What else has he been in? A lot of the big things are obviously coming to mind, but those are going to be higher percentages. When did, I guess, do The King, and then can we do?
What about Beautiful Boy?
Beautiful Boy, that's also an option.
Oh, The Queen.
Okay. Boom. All right, a little higher than I would have liked. Before we do this, is there any other one that you could think of, A through H?
For Timmy Tim. It's just hard because you have to, for somebody this famous, it's like you have to go straight to the tiniest roles possible.
Right.
A through H. That leaves L off the table. I was going to say Little Women.
Yeah.
What about Marty Supreme is on there. Oh, that's an M. Never mind. Wait a minute.
No. Okay, we can go Beautiful Boy.
I really just can't think of anything else. I mean, obviously there's like, well, actually they cut it off right before Interstellar.
Yeah, that was my other thought. All right.
Yeah, 14. Yeah. There's got to be something smaller than that.
All right. You got any ideas on Eva Mendes? Because I got nothing.
I mean, Eva Mendes is like, what's the ignore the, and that's Q, so that misses that. I mean, I can't put this for the other one, so I'll just put it as this. Oh, okay. She's the wife in the other guys. I know that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Very high.
Eva Mendes. Wow. See. Oh.
Ooh, Ghost Rider. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to play it safe because I'm going to bet she didn't come back for the sequel.
All right. Oh, okay. Wow. Jeez.
Wow. Small filmography. Oh, crap. Danielle, if you want to send a chat in again, I'm going to try that feature that puts the chat on screen. I want to see what that looks like.
Q through
Eva
Z.
Eva Mendes, Q through Z. I feel like we might have to circle back on that one. Let's go to Paul Dano.
Okay.
Actor / director. I don't even know if I knew that he directed.
Oh, what was that? Didn't he do?
He wrote the Riddler prequel comic.
Oh my god, what the frick is it called? I have the poster in my head. Isn't it with Joel Edgerton?
Joel Edgerton and Paul Dano.
No, he's the director, I'm thinking.
Did he direct The Gift? Is that what you're thinking of?
No. I have it in my, it might not even have Joel Edgerton in it, but I think every time I see the poster, I think it's him, but it's not.
Did he direct Presence?
Presence.
I'm just trying to go through Joel Edgerton movies now. Let's see. We can't even do Little Miss Sunshine because
let me confirm a movie that I'm thinking of. Is that allowed?
I'll allow it. What do you guys think of that? The chat. I don't really like how, I mean, we have to change our overlay a little bit. Because it doesn't seem like you can move the chat window at all. But I mean, it's nice. It's like recreating the OBS like alert box kind of thing, but in StreamYard.
All right, I'm gonna cheat. Oh wait, that wasn't him. Never mind. Ignore me.
Perfect.
Okay, never mind.
I feel like this one I'll go Little Miss Sunshine because I just don't know. What I mean, what is he in? He's in like isn't he like in Wes Anderson stuff?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I think I'm thinking again, I'm cheating, but I need to confirm this. Where is it? There it is. That was him. Okay. Before you do this one, Wildlife.
What is that?
It's Jake Gyllenhaal and
The or no?
No, just Wildlife. It's one word. I think you just did 2 words.
Oh man. Well, that's okay.
Try it again. Just try that one again. I want to see what the yeah, that one. There we go.
There you go.
6.6.
Is that Carey Mulligan?
It's yes, Carey Mulligan and Jake Gyllenhaal. I was the other movie I was thinking of that wasn't actually directed by him. It was actually directed by Joel Edgerton. Was Boy Erased. I get those 2 like posters mixed up for some reason, and I was thinking Boy Erased, but it was actually the other one.
They're saying Place Beyond the Pines for Eva Mendes, and I'm going with it.
Okay.
Let's try. I just snuck in another Paul Dano. Do you see that?
Yep.
How about the Batman?
Jeez.
Oh, look at that. I hot shot it our way into 9 out of 9. All right.
Oh, Wonka.
Dune. Yeah, but these are that. I knew Wonka was going to be a million.
Dune, obviously. Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, this is the only movie. Oh, Hitch. Okay. The Adderall Diaries.
I've never heard of. Okay.
I did know that Chalamet was in A Rainy Day in New York because that's a Woody Allen movie. I did not know that he was in Intergalactic. Wasn't that a short film?
Oh, The Guilty. Oh, he directed that? I didn't know that.
Paul Dano directed The Guilty?
He acted in it?
Oh.
I don't remember him in that movie, honestly.
Wait, what? Hold up. Because I liked that movie.
No, he's in it.
He's in it. Who the hell?
He's in it in a voice role. Fuck.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's like...
that would explain why I did not remember him.
Yeah. Most people were voice rolling that. Oh yeah, Where the Wild Things Are. That's a really good one that I should have known. I love him in that movie. Wow, I'm actually pretty disappointed in myself that I didn't put that on there. Well, what can you do? All right, TJ. Well, first of all, we have the show to talk about, and we want to keep this show itself a little bit on the shorter side. But is there anything that's been going on? Any news topics that I feel like we have just been out of the game? We've been reviewing stuff, but I just feel like we have been so out of the game in terms of what we've been covering. But
did you see that? This is completely kind of off topic, but did you see that guy that like snuck onto the set of Doomsday?
Pulling up his face right now. So we are being told that we can confirm that this is the man who broke onto the set of Avengers Doomsday.
Oh, there it goes.
And there he is. We got Zach Braff officially set to return in the Scrubs reboot. Florence Pugh says, "I will be not watching this one."
Did you ever watch that show?
No, I'm not
okay.
I'm no Superman. It was a little scrub joke. Yes, I did see that guy. Sorry, I just processed what you said. Yes, I did see that guy broke into the set. I did not see any of the stuff.
It wasn't really like, I didn't think it was all that much. It was like a 40-second video.
Do you want to just, I feel comfortable if you just, do you want to just verbally tell what was in some of the stuff? Or
it was just like,
it was like a location. It was more,
it was like a location. It was like I don't know if it's a planet or a city or whatever, that you could tell what it was by like the signage, I think.
But it was unidentifiable to you.
Well, I saw what you saw. I saw somebody was like, "Oh, is that blah blah blah?" So like I knew what it was at that point.
Gotcha.
But to me, I would say I've heard the name, but to me, it didn't really mean much.
Do you want to put it in the chat?
As a non-comic book reader? Yeah, sure.
Or put it in the private chat, I mean,
yeah.
Not the public chat. Because I don't really, even if it's...
I probably butchered the spelling of that.
I don't consider you telling, like you verbally saying.
Yeah. Did I spell it like even close? Probably not.
I'm looking at the poster on my wall for Captain America Brave New World, and I'm scratching my head at what you just sent me. Really? That's like...
That was
the leak? That's like...
I guess.
That doesn't feel huge.
I feel like that it came up in the X-Men show, right? Am I incorrect in that? I feel like it's probably...
I don't know. Well, I don't, without saying what it is. Yeah, it came up in live action in a huge thing.
Yeah. So again, it was just signage too. It wasn't like, it was like, oh, this so-and-so bar. And so
like we've already been there in the MCU.
Okay. And people were like, oh, that kind of links to that concept art that what came out like a few months ago or whatever.
Okay.
There's one shot of them in a bar or whatever.
Yeah, I would think that would line up probably. I'm literally looking at a water bottle right now, so I'm not like, I'm just trying to mentally put this stuff together. I'm guessing they're talking about like the Peter Quill when he was like at a booth with everybody. Yes. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then there was like this funny, like,
that'd be interesting.
It was another thing where it was like, oh, look at the leaks from the set. And it was like, I'm not going to say it was like super realistic, but there were like these fake AI renderings of like kind of behind the scenes shots of like Robert Downey Jr. dressed as Doom and stuff like that. It looked like pretty good. It's shocked to say how good it looked, but also very concerned at how good it looked.
Yeah, to me, it's like because there was that one that came out a couple weeks ago, where he had like a big beard or whatever. And to me, it's like, if the only thing to go by, like, I've decided this in my brain over the last couple days because of all this stuff, is it's like, I think the only thing that we have to remember is if all else fails and it looks that good, just assume it's fake, because if it was real, there's no way that we'd be seeing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there is just no way that stuff like that would just make its way online. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain level of believability, and it's just like, I feel like leaks like that, like specifically the ones of like, oh, RDJ in the Doom outfit, standing in front of a white background.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of a huge leak has only happened once ever in films. And I think that was the Luke Skywalker, the classic leak from 2014 of him like doing like a merch pose basically for The Force Awakens, and it leaked online.
I don't even think I wasn't even on, like, I don't think I was like online.
Yeah, I wonder if I could find it, but
where I don't even think I like knew that was even a thing.
Original Luke Skywalker Force Awakens leak. Yeah, that was like, obviously this is a decade ago. This is like years and years before AI or anything. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. But my point being, I think that all these AI things are like trying to be like, see it happen again. And it's like, I just don't think that kind of thing happens again. It was this. This came out in like summer of 2014.
Wow.
Like pre-trailer.
What a time that must have been.
Yeah, this was like pre-trailer coming out. But yeah, shout out. That was crazy. He looks like he knows it's gonna leak. He's looking at the camera. He said that camera shouldn't be like, look at the technology back then. Look at all of the cameras taking a picture of him, and it's just big DSLR cameras. Like now it's like little tiny like diode cameras that there's like 1,000 of them. And like just 10 years ago, they were taking all these like infrared pictures with just like 10 cameras. That's pretty chat. Danielle said Buffalo Bills movie. Yes, absolutely. There's a couple of Buffalo Bills theme movies, but obviously there's the big one, which is the Hallmark Christmas one. And then also just announced today, which I don't have the picture, but that's okay. HBO does their famous Hard Knocks series, where every year,
Oh,
what do
yeah.
they focus on? 2 or 3 teams, I think, right? And they follow basically the entire is it the whole season or is it the pre or
Just training camp. Starting, I believe this year they changed the rules where I believe it was if you made the playoffs the previous year, you were exempt from having to do hard knocks.
Mhm.
And they've since changed that. So now it's kind of anybody can do it. So they announced, yeah, the Bills are going to do training camp, which is usually, I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Um, and then they do an in-season one now, which is the NFC East. So it's like 4 teams are going to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. They're not going to do it anymore. But they last year they did an off-season one with the Giants, which I actually really liked.
Mhm.
Kind of it was leading up to the draft, so it kind of showed a little behind the scenes of the combine and some of the interviews, draft process, all that stuff. I thought was really cool. But the way that Joe Shane, the GM, came off in that show, it just I don't think they'll ever do it again. It just wasn't
Really?
it wasn't good PR. We'll say it that way, I guess.
See, that's crazy because that's like somebody's got to get fired for that. Like,
Right.
I
And
mean, it
it's not
should
like
be
they don't have
him,
like final
but
edit or something like that. Like they can
that's
cut
what I
out
mean.
whatever they
Like, how did
want.
that get in?
Yeah, it just the way when it was coming out, a lot of people were like, "Yeah, this isn't. They'll probably never do this again."
That's crazy. I might actually watch that to familiarize myself with the Giants.
Yeah,
Um,
it's good. It's like 4 to 6 episodes, I think.
Nice. Well, that is very, very cool. A lot of Bill stuff going on. And then, yeah, there's been a lot of local movement on the tax credit stuff, some of the stages in Buffalo, and a lot of big productions happening here right now. We had a big boom right before the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a big boom with Nightmare Alley filming here,
Yeah.
which was obviously a huge production here, and ended up being a huge movie and was had Del Toro being here kind of put in the water like more people coming
Didn't he say
here.
he like loved filming here or something
Yeah,
like
he's
that?
filming another movie here, I think this summer or this
Oh,
fall or
okay.
something. Um but yeah, that led to like a huge boom, and then even when production started back up, a huge boom in production and everything, but it had really kind of died off the last 2 years to a pretty worrying point. But now all of a sudden it's just like roaring again. Obviously, everything going on right up through the White House, with movie tariffs and discussing a federal tax incentive.
Mhm.
The kind of tax incentive talk has become a huge hot button issue, which is something that I've had my eye on for the past few years because of some of the friends that I have in the local film community, but also the fact that the Buffalo film community is just a smaller section of the larger filmmaking community.
Yeah.
And then I'll just say here too, I don't know if any of them are going to be put online soon or anything like that, but I went to a local short film screening for the college I used to go to that a couple of my friends are graduating from soon and finishing up in their TFA program, and I got to see a short film screening. It was about 2 hours. I think it was 8 short films, and they were all
Mhm.
like 10 to 12 minutes each. Um, it was really really cool. But yeah, very 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 cool. Very cool to see the Bills movie going on. The who was here before that? The Mario Lopez movie. All of these Hallmark and Netflix and these interesting productions. And I will let you know, I don't, I this shouldn't trace back to anybody. So if I'm ending careers here, I apologize. But Did you know that there are several productions right now in Buffalo that are vertical productions? Full scale, like, feature filmmaking, but for vertical screens. 2 movies
Interesting.
like that are filming this summer here, that are vertical, which is very, very, very interesting. So a lot going on in the Buffalo film community, and like I said, with everything going on in the White House, and obviously there's some more outlandish stuff going on in the White House when it comes to filmmaking and box office and how the industry is going to make money and move forward and everything like that. But the federal tax incentive talks is the more rational, actually probably does need to happen, kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that stuff kind of shakes out,
Mhm.
because obviously Runaway Productions, which is like what it means when production is leaving America, basically. That's the stuff that doesn't need to be cracked down on or taken legal action against, but it's just we need to make it more financially. There need to be more financial incentives to film things in America. Like
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. And it's like people go, well, why should the taxpayer have to do that? And it's like, why should the taxpayers have to do anything? Half the reason that we pay taxes was supposed to be to fund art. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm more happy with my taxpayer money paying they wouldn't pay Robert Downey Jr., but maybe paying, Simu Liu's bonus for Avengers Doomsday. If it means that they film it in New York instead of filming it in London.
Mhm.
But then again, also, London is, they make incredible productions over there. It's an incredible production system in London, but then there are places where production goes, farther afield of some of these places to where you're really going just to scrape by, just to cut costs and everything like that. And those are the kind of productions that, used to film in places like New York and places like LA that, those people don't have the work anymore. And that gets into a whole other thing where they feel like, the unions aren't doing enough to stick up to keep those jobs in America. It's all interesting stuff. I won't keep going on about it, but maybe that'll be a PFN After Dark with Alex, to come on and really break down, some of the more in-depth stuff, that's going on. But it is interesting to say, we're definitely not like a Atlanta and not like a, even Vancouver, but we're getting up there with in terms of people looking at Buffalo as a viable option. Um, and then they might even get back to the talk of building a studio here, which there was talk of, but then they kind of died out after the
Mm.
pandemic. But that would be awesome. All right, yeah, let's go ahead. But yes, Bill's movie, very cool. Um, TJ, we have to talk about Skibbity Toilet,
No, we don't.
directed by Michael Bay. What is this?
Can I just
They
say, like,
they
when
are
I saw that said first teaser,
coming.
I'm like, okay, what am I looking at? It's 2 people.
Yeah.
Like, there's no there it yeah, no, I'm choosing to actively ignore whatever this movie is.
Now, here's my thing. Me as well, but seeing this, it did get me to go, is this movie not about Skibbity Toilet? Like, this isn't like a Gmod movie, but
No.
is this a movie where it says they're coming? If this wasn't Michael Bay, I would be like, is this going to be like about teenagers now with like meme culture? Like, is this going to be like an interesting, poignant movie about like brain rot? But it's Michael Bay, so it obviously won't be. But it
Yeah.
did get me thinking that I'm like, they are coming, like this generation is gonna inherit the
I
earth.
think
And
it's
it's
just one
like,
of those things,
because I don't know what else the hell this means.
like, I still don't I wouldn't consider myself, like, chronically online. So I
Yeah.
feel like that is just something that kinda goes right over I'm like where, I'm sure this movie will come out and it'll be, definitely an experience and there'll be a ton of like maybe references or something that I just won't get just because and like you said, like it's like kind of the next generation, I feel
Mhm.
like, and a lot of that stuff might speak to them. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I think that's what I would think it would be if they told me that it was like an A24 movie, but I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Can you think? Well, there you go.
Did you see the
movie has begun
Did you see the
production.
teaser for the It series?
I did see that. I did. Look at this guy.
What'd you think of that?
Are you gonna see this?
I don't know. Maybe not in theaters. Lilo and
Yeah.
Stitch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Never really
that's a
caught
good
my
point.
name.
I'll probably I probably will definitely watch it, but it probably will be in on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Here he is. I did see this trailer. What do you think of the trailer?
I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would have liked some shots of Bill Skarsgård. I know what he looks like, obviously in the makeup and everything, but I just thought he was really good in that role in the movies. So I was kind of surprised he wasn't in the trailer more. But maybe he's not in the show as much. I could be wrong on that, but I thought it was it'll be interesting to see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really as scared as I am of the movies, I liked them. So
Mm-hmm.
I will watch this show, but just probably behind a blanket or something or behind a pillow.
If this show isn't like, see, Pennywise is like interesting because uh me and Bree watched this trailer yesterday when it came out. I think it came out yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. Um and I was sitting there and I was like, man, what a great concept for a book and for a movie series and for a show. Cause it's like this guy, oh, jeez, I gotta take more Celsius. This guy comes around, what is it, 27 years, right? Every 27 years. So it's like every generation you can make a whole new film of this or a whole new telling of this. And then on top of it, I'm sitting here right now as you're talking about it, and I'm like, man, Pennywise is so perfect of a Warner Brothers IP to turn into a show because I guarantee you this conversation happened when they were pitching this because you don't need it to look like Pennywise all the time, which
Right.
means AKA you don't have to pay Bill Skarsgård to be in every episode.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, what are some of the best parts of It Part 2 that everybody loved? Was like the weird 1800s like flashback stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
if this show doesn't have one episode where it's all Pennywise and we like follow his origin and stuff like that, that is such a missed opportunity. I think that like I'm more interested I am interested in the show, and I thought the trailer did enough to get me a little more interested in kind of the 50s version because basically what this is the Tim Curry version as kids because it's like the 80s movie was about the kids in the 50s, but now our 2015 movie was about the kids in the 80s. Now we're going back that like one generation. So it's not Mike and it's not Bill and it's not all these people that we know, but it is
Right.
their parents' generation. Um, which is just very, very interesting. And again, seeing anything more of Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is going to be great. But yeah, I am really almost more than the show itself. I am looking forward to an imaginary wishful thinking like Pennywise solo episode that I think will be like incredible. Like
Yeah.
I just think like if Andy Muschietti, you know how HBO shows they're always like we're gonna talk about it right after this with The Last of Us. Like, you know, there's always the episode, and you're like, that's the one you pay Bill
Right.
Skarsgård for. That you're like, Bill, we're gonna bring you in. We need you for 3 weeks. We're gonna do this crazy Pennywise origin thing, and then right at the end, it's gonna be a big reveal, you know, for the finale or something like that, like the big penultimate episode. So I am interested to see it. And it, I'll be honest, it might be a show that I don't watch week to week, but
Right.
maybe once I hear, and best case scenario is the very first episode, everybody goes, you have to watch this. But you know, if it's a slow burn or anything like that, probably once people start losing their mind about the show, I'll probably jump into it.
Yeah. They
But
plan
yeah.
to make 3 seasons apparently. So we'll see if
Oh
that
wow,
holds
that's
up.
a big
But
plan. That's a bold plan. Tony Gilroy planned to make 5 seasons of Andor. So we'll see. But what were your thoughts about the less the trailer, but more just hopes for the show itself?
yeah, I just hope it kind of has the same vibe of the movies.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a while since that second one came out, honestly. And I've been looking forward to this
Was
show.
that 21?
It's, something like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? No, wasn't it pre-COVID?
Both were pre-COVID?
I
Are you
could have
sure?
sworn I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't.
Wow, no, they were.
2019. Yeah.
November
I was
17
gonna
and
say this
November
was a
19.
while. It definitely came out a while ago.
That's right, because they filmed them back to back. Man, people are talking about, oh, I don't know if Mission's gonna be successful because it's got a 2-hour and 49-minute runtime. You
Yeah,
can't
that was
read
a
that,
long
but
movie.
2 hours and 40. Yeah, 2 hours 49 minutes.
Chapter 1 definitely better than chapter 2 in my opinion. But this is a show I was kind of looking forward to, and I could have sworn it got pushed back to next year. But it looks like it's coming out fall this year, I guess.
I think it was pushed to this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I said that like last year at some point.
Yeah.
When it got pushed.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, I don't know if I'm gonna watch this like day of it comes out, but maybe
I'll tell you what, if there's nothing on at the same time,
yeah,
I'll watch it week to
right.
week. Like if it's a slow season. Like right now, I mean, oh my God, I gotta get caught up. I don't know when I'm gonna get caught up, but the Doctor Who finale is on Sunday. I haven't watched a single episode because it's been Andor, and it was straight from Daredevil into Andor, into all these other things, into Last of Us. And even Last of Us was coming straight out of another HBO show that I can't even remember what was on before that. Oh yeah, Penguin. All right. Speaking of, TJ, are you ready to talk a little Joel and Ellie?
Yep.
All right. We are going to dive in right now, talking about The Last of Us Season 2, Episodes 1 through 6. We already did discuss episode, I think, 1 and 2, or just episode 1. I think it might have been just, oh no, it had to have been more than that because, wait.
Oh yeah, no, I think just 1.
Yeah, I think it was just 1. Yeah, you're right. It was just 1. So we discussed episode 1 of this show. And now we are jumping back in because obviously we had Andor in the intervening weeks that kind of and a bunch of scheduling difficulties that meant we couldn't really cover Andor as it was coming out. But we do have a full almost 2. I mean, we talked for a little bit about other stuffs, but a over 2-hour discussion on all of Andor season 2 is up on the channel right now for you guys.
Yeah.
And that was very fun to do. But this is a lot less time to talk about. And also we have another week with the finale coming up next. So without further ado, TJ. Oh, also, if you guys want to call in and give us your thoughts, it's probably going to be very quick because we are doing a quick show tonight. Give us, 1-2 minutes if you want to talk about it. We have the link in the chat and in the description down below. But TJ, jump on into it. Last of Us Season 2. We haven't really talked about this amongst ourselves that much. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts on Last of Us Season 2 so far?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it's been really good so far. In all honesty, I have not been the quickest to watch it as it's coming out. Especially the past few weeks, I just feel as though I've been obviously with well, I guess not even with Andor. I don't even know what I've been doing with my Sundays, honestly. But usually I find myself over the next few days watching it at some point. I know last week I kind of binged the previous 2 weeks because I had skipped them. But no, I'm still having a good time with it. I don't think it's probably as strong as season 1, but I also don't think, and I've seen this mostly with the recent episode, I would say, is that people, if being big fans of the game, not happy, I would say, with the most recent episode. But overall, I've had a good time. Well, I shouldn't say a good time because it's pretty depressing, but following Ellie's journey, definitely making me want to play both games again, which is definitely something I'm going to do once I finish Final Fantasy VII. And it'll be interesting to see how they finish this season with Ellie's part of the story, and then kind of leading into Abby's in the next season. I did see that they said they're going to need a season 4, which
feels a little gratuitous.
Feels a bit like it's like maybe we can just wrap this up in 3. I don't know if we really need to extend it that far. Because I feel like maybe the longer the go and it'll be, diminishing returns as we go on. Personally, like something that I found myself thinking after this most recent episode was I don't know if I needed like the whole like Eugene kind of storyline, especially in this most recent one. I didn't feel like for me it didn't really add anything. Just because it's like we know what Joel did, and we know he kind of took, and Ellie says it in this episode, like, I was gonna matter. I was gonna, my life would mean something. And I just felt like this whole thing with like, we could have had Catherine O'Hara in this show and not have the whole Eugene like kind of thing, which I didn't even know that was Joey Pants watching it. I just saw it on IMDb. But yeah, I would say overall through what has it been 6 episodes. I think it's been good. It hasn't been good as season 1, but I am definitely going to continue watching and see how they kind of wrap it all up. Hopefully, again, I really kind of don't want a 4th season. I would be fine with, kind of combining season 3 and making it, 10 episodes to kind of wrap everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel very similar as you. And for me, I just think that this show, this season so far, has been really high highs and really medium lows, if that makes sense. I think the lowest that this show ever gets is like a medium good show. You know what I mean? Like this show is never ever bad, ever.
Right.
But and I can't emphasize this enough, and we are going to weight this conversation about a particular actor probably towards the end of this show, but not like it's going to be an hour from now. But I'm just saying I will table my Pedro thoughts is what I'm trying to say. I think we'll talk about Pedro in his own little section. But the show as we have known it this season so far, right? As kind of I will say as the Dina and Ellie show. I know that even just saying that, a lot of people get upset by saying Dina and Ellie show. They're like, this is not a Dina show. This is not, this is always going to be Joel, always going to be Joel and Ellie. We'll see about that, but I just think when this show is like doing the slice of life stuff, there's just something not there that was there in season 1. And obviously, it's the dynamic between the 2 leads. But I think that Bella Ramsey and Isabella Merced have incredible chemistry, and they are both incredibly strong actresses, incredibly strong actors who are very, very good in this show. I think it's honestly for me, I think it's just like the writing is just not making me care as much about this dynamic as Joel and Ellie. But I also think, I'm just worried that it's less to do with a writing thing and more to just do with is there as much there as there was with Joel and Ellie? You know what I mean? It's like, is it a fault of the performers? Is it a fault of the writers? Is it a fault of Neil Druckmann for creating this new dynamic for the second game? I don't know. All I know is this dynamic, I just can't lock into the way, you're trying to crack the safe of falling into like the vibe of a show. I just can't crack it with Ellie and Dina alone together. And it's like I totally buy into their romance and I love those scenes, and I was getting emotional with some of the stuff when they're in the theater, obviously for the first time. This is full spoilers, by the way, for episodes 1 through 6 of The Last of Us season 2. Complete full spoilers, if that wasn't obvious already. But like when she takes the bite for her, basically, I think that's maybe Isabella Merced's strongest moment so far, is just her absolute like confusion, fear, everything going through her face as she's like, not only do I have to kill this person, but like I love this person, but also why the fuck is this person so stupid that they just got bit for me?
Yeah.
It's all those different levels and stuff. And the show consistently always has those character moments where I love Ellie, I love Dina, I love Dina and Ellie together. I love them as a lesbian female relationship. I love them together. Um I also love new people like Jesse. I mean, I
Yep.
love Jesse. Can't get enough Tommy. Not enough Tommy in this show. I love somebody like Gail every time she pops up all throughout this season in the various spots and I like that also she's constantly interacting with different people. Obviously this episode 6 was a big episode for Catherine O'Hara, had a really good moment. Um, but stuff like the Eugene episode, or even stuff like
Mhm.
Isaac, as someone who I played through most of the first game, none of the second game,
Yeah.
I just like something like even the Isaac storyline, and then like with the Josh Peck factor, it's
Yeah.
like, and I liked that, and I thought that Josh Peck did a great job with that
Uh-huh.
scene of being the perfect type of asshole that's like, well, I know I'm being an asshole, but I'm just trying to entertain the guys, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like real locker room talk type stuff. Um, I loved that scene, and I loved Jeffrey Wright's response to that. That was 5 weeks ago, and I'm no closer to understanding who Isaac is or what his purpose
Oh,
is in this show.
yeah.
And I just keep seeing headlines that's like, "Oh, Isaac is just getting started." And I'm like, and then they're talking about fourth seasons, and I'm like, man, I don't know. Maybe you could have just done this show in two. And I'm like, and where is Caitlin Deaver? Like what? Like it's
Well,
just
I mean, that kind of plays into the game element of it, right? Where it's like it's
I don't
really
know.
split into two well, I guess
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
yeah. Well,
it's
but
split
my point,
into
yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's
100.
split
percent
into two kind of separate sections before we
Yeah.
eventually kind of collide,
Okay. Yeah.
and intersect. And again, I definitely do not remember all that much from the game. I realized after watching this episode, and how the episode ends with that conversation, I go, when did this happen? I was like, wasn't this at the beginning of the game? And then come to find out, it's really like the last scene of the game. I'm like, oh my God, like I completely got that all wrong. But yeah, I think that's maybe something that maybe isn't conducive to telling a story on television
Hmm.
is you're introducing these characters like very little, and then you're not going to know anything about them until probably next season, which when's it going to come out? So, you're going to get a year, maybe two gap of like, well, I don't even know who this guy is or why they are really the way they are.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like I guess I just come down on it, and I totally like if you're telling me that like next season we're gonna see, the in between perspectives of more people on the WLF side of
Mhm.
things and stuff, that's great. But to me, it's like, and you're saying like, well, the two halves, it's kind of very important to the how the
Right.
game is and how the game is structured and everything, and I think that's totally great. But I just think, and you just said the porch scene, they moved that from the very end of the second game
Mhm.
to here. And I guess I'm just like, if they're already moving stuff around, why not just move some of the stuff into this season?
Mhm.
Like I guess to me it's just if you're talking about, well, that's how they're adapting it, it's like, well, I don't know if that's the best thing to do for this show
Yeah.
then, because it's like you're giving me these less than breadcrumbs and introducing these new characters that 2, 3, 4 weeks on, like I'm like moving on from, like, what the
Mhm.
hell is what's her name, Hanrahan, like
I
who
don't
is
even know what
that?
you're talking about.
The mom from Euphoria. the like Isaac's, the like WLF like general lady.
Oh, the one that was talking to the woman who kind of had to lock her son in the.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, it's like absolutely incredible scene of that whole conversation.
Yeah.
And one last thing. Sorry about your son. And you're like,
Right.
oh my God. Like that, all that effect, all that emotion, all of that intrigue, it's working on me. But there is just something about the overall how everything's coming together this season that's just not like giving me that Last of Us boom,
Right.
like it did before. And I don't know what that is. But I will say, I think they are, I don't know. Should I go for it or should I not?
No, you can say whatever you want.
I just like, and I think that, okay, I'm going to say this very, hopefully correctly, because the internet is a terrible, terrible place. But I really, really like Bella Ramsey as Ellie and as a performer. And I think she's an incredible actor. Or they, when I'm talking about the actor, but Ellie is a she, I'm trying to say. I think that they are incredible, an incredible actor, and especially as Ellie, I think they're great. But I just feel like the show is like not helping them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like the Geek Buddies, I think it was Shannon McClung on the Geek Buddies review. This was going weeks back now. Like I'm gonna laser in on a particular line. So if you don't remember, don't feel bad. I think it was episode 3. They're at the they're at the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's episode 4, and it's the protractor joke. And
Yeah.
it's like he brought up a great point that I felt too, which is I feel like the show is like dumbing Ellie down a little bit
Mm-hmm.
in like a very weird way, or a way that is striking me as weird.
Yeah.
That I think is counterintuitive to the Ellie that they established in the first season. And also, I think is not doing Bella Ramsey any favors in like kind of making her not an unlikable character, but like she's a character that's hard to root for because the writing, not because she does anything bad, but the writing doesn't really do her any favors.
Right. And I mean, like, the character is definitely annoying in like those first like 2 episodes of the season 2, where it's like, can you just shut up or something? Like, and I think I've obviously,
and this episode does a lot to fill that, but
yeah, I think it gets obviously better.
But that doesn't change having to watch those episodes.
Right. No, yeah, I can get that. Where it's like you want to be kind of rooting this person on. It's like you want them to just stop talking.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's a Bella Ramsey thing. I think that is like a broader structural thing with Ellie's character this season.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, and I really do mean that. I don't think it is anything. I mean, the people, obviously it goes without saying, like the people talking about Bella Ramsey the way they do online are terrible and awful in the way that they are doing stuff. Really no different than I think we even said on this show when you were talking about the actress who portrayed Abby in the game. We were like, well, let's hope that the internet has changed, and obviously 5 weeks later we know that it has completely not. But yeah, I think for me that's kind of overall where I fall on the main parts of the story itself. Is it's just not falling together for me the way it did. And I'm even with you with the Joey Pants thing, where it's like I feel like you had this whole Eugene thing, and yes, it did help completely with Joel's character and everything like that, but I just feel like partially it's like you're putting that in there just to bring in an actor to have like an Emmy moment. You know what I mean? And I thought that in the moment, and in it, and I don't know what it is. It's like there are two wolves within us, I guess, because it's like on one hand, I'm sitting there and he's like, I don't last words. I don't have any last words. I want her last words. Beautiful line, vision level line of what is love without, or what is grief without, if not love persevering. Like, wow, that line is beautiful. I've never had that thought before. I don't have last words. I want her last words. Like that. That's just like, boom. That was an incredible moment that I like exploded my mind about like the possibilities of love and what you could feel about another person and everything like that. But then the other half of my brain was like, man, Joey Pants is really going for that guest Emmy. And I, you know what I mean? It's like they want that like Nick Offerman bump that they had from the first season. And it's like, I just feel like it would have been just as good if Eugene was just somebody like Seth, who I don't know who the hell that actor is, but man, I love that character. Like,
I think
like, sorry, go ahead.
I think the whole kind of Eugene thing in there too is just to kind of, it's to kind of add to Ellie's like, I don't even know what the word is. I don't want to say like distrust, but it's like that's like strike two.
Yeah.
Where it's like, then we're led to the kind of porch scene where it's like, okay, she literally says like, oh, I'm going to give you this is your last chance, or like, I'm out.
It was like Eugene was like her last shred of like, benefit of the doubt. Like that, like burned anything away.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like we didn't need any of that. Like you would have had me where she's,
and that's like, not in the game, right?
That's not in the game. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Where she's like, you took, like I said earlier, like you took whatever amount of, trying to think of what the word is, not independence, but like
agency,
autonomy of, you took this decision from me, and like she said, my life could have mattered, all that stuff, where it's like, I didn't really need this whole Eugene thing to kind of get there. Another thing I didn't really like is when, again, and this is kind of, I don't want to go into that whole, like, a lot of people I feel like I've seen are saying that in the show they butchered this scene.
Like, go into this, because I don't know what.
I mean, means. I just before we went live, I watched it on
the
YouTube.
Game clip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, there's obviously like some of the dialogue's the same, some of it is different. Personally, when she asks Joel if they could have made a cure and he says yes, I hated that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
we don't know that.
Yeah.
What do you like? We don't know that it would have worked.
We don't know that. He doesn't know that. And the doctors didn't know that.
No. Yeah. And in the game, he's like, he says, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I found it very interesting that they changed that stuff around. Way more definitive in the show, I would say, than in the game, which is interesting. I mean, I'm never going to, I don't think, and maybe this is just, I don't know if I'll ever love a, piece of media enough to be like offended when it's adapted and say they butchered it or something like that. Maybe that's just me. And maybe it's just because I haven't played the game in such a long time. But I didn't think it was like offensive or anything. I mean, I would say I liked the way they did it in the game more, but I didn't think it was some like heinous crime.
Yeah.
the way they did in the show.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I know definitely I heard right away that people were like, oh, that's actually like the post credits of the game.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's very interesting. I mean, definitely makes me think that we Pedro's probably completely done.
No, yeah, I would think so.
I mean, he'll probably have one last like Yondu in Guardians 3, like right as Ellie is about to kill Abby or something. I have no idea if that's what happens, but like right at a big moment, she's gonna look over to the left and he's gonna be,
right
no,
now,
son.
yeah,
don't do it, yeah. But yeah, that's a very, very interesting perspective with the game and everything. It's just not something that I know, but I mean, I'm very much looking forward to. I will say the games, they were very slow for me. That's why I stopped playing the first one because of the show. I was like, I'm just not getting into this game as much as I wanted to, so I'm just gonna wait for the show. But now I think, I think most of the biggest of the big spoilers are kind of out of the way, it feels, for the game. So now it's like, now I think I maybe really will try and play 1 and 2.
We'll
see.
Except
for the very end. Yeah.
Well, I'm not even saying the very end. I'm just there might be a few things that happen in the next season. It would be,
Oh wow.
that maybe you would want to
Well, see, then
watch
maybe
for the first time.
season 4 is warranted. No, like, do you think that whatever big thing that you're saying isn't the ending?
I'm not saying it's a big thing. I'm just saying, like,
but do you think that could serve as its own finale? Because saying there's going to be 4 seasons is basically saying there are 4 things along this journey that are big enough to be their own finales. Because you're
I
going to have
think
to
you
end
could.
the season.
If they've said next season will be told kind of basically Abby's perspective.
Yeah.
I think if you could, and this season's what, 7 episodes, and it's basically Ellie and Dina. So if you just extend next season by a handful of episodes, I don't see why you couldn't kind of wrap it all up in a 3rd season.
Yeah. Do like 5 Abby episodes and then like 3 everybody's back together and we're finishing this thing. Like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I just think there is something missing for me.
Yeah.
But
No,
let's
I
talk.
think
Yeah.
I think that is very fair. I would encourage you definitely to just try and finish the first one, because they really are great games. Like, again, some people, I shouldn't say some, a lot of people call at least the original or part 2, whichever way you want to go, like one of the best games ever. So like, I definitely think it's worth playing, even if
I've owned them both for like 2 years.
Right, watch the show, and just like the combat's really good. Again, it's
Yeah.
another just obviously video game aspect that doesn't quite translate to the show. And one thing I will say, as far as like something they probably could have done with like Jeffrey Wright's character or something like that, you probably could have just left. I feel like you probably could have just left them to the next season.
See, that's what I mean. Like, when I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm like, okay, Jeffrey Wright, like, he's in the show now, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, tune in a year and a half or 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
Because season 2 has not filmed anything.
Right. Especially
so
if he's not that. And Jeffrey Wright's a great actor, but I personally like seeing the 5 minutes that you see of him in that episode. I'm like, I'm not really that compelled to be like, oh, what's gonna happen? It's like you could have just left them for the next season. And by the way, Hanrahan not in the game, which I knew, I just had to confirm. So it's, some of these characters, again, they're also kind of either making new ones or trying to flesh out,
or like combining
the ones that exist.
Same thing. Anything.
Real quick, one thing I will say, I feel like we've been kind of mixed on the season, but something that I thought was really good was episode 5.
Are you talking about the train?
When Ellie is chasing Nora through like the hospital.
Oh yeah.
And down into like the basement where you see the spores and the people that are like, no, they're not even, they're alive, but they're being held alive by like the disease and the virus and the whatever, I forget what they're called, the cordyceps, like fungus stuff, and how they're kind of breathing in and then just breathing
out.
Yeah, it's like, I thought all that looked great and was great. So again, props to them for like kind of, I feel like a lot of those big moments, they've done a really good job. And I don't know if, again, we said this, but like as far as episode 2, the big, obviously Joel death, it just didn't, in the show, as good as it was, I feel like it just didn't quite click for me like it did in the game. I don't know why. It wasn't quite there in the show. Which, oh, by the way, which you maybe the Dina, I don't believe she's there in the game. So that was a different thing that they kind of changed.
Where?
She's not there when they kill him in the game.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's Tommy. Like, I believe they switched the two.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. I did see that because I saw that it's like they like knock him out, I think, or something like that.
Yes,
but yeah, very interesting. Again, it's just like and I also just, in this episode just confirmed it again. It's like I miss Jackson. Like I miss the community and the whatever, and it's like I was watching The Break Room, I think, which is a new Rockstar's channel where it's kind of like it's like the closest thing to the old like Collider and like Screen Junkies thing that's still going now, where it's just like a panel of like comedians and like comic book fans and stuff. And they were talking about what did you just say? What were we just talking about?
Jackson Hole.
Oh yeah, right. They were like, I think what this show is missing the most is that it's like this show should be an ensemble, but it's like too expensive to be one. Like it's like I would want at least 10 minutes an episode where you are cutting back to something happening in Jackson. And I just think that it's like I feel like the first 3 episodes that her and Dina were on the run to Seattle, like I feel like we didn't get Jesse and Tommy reacting to them being gone, all for that big surprise moment when Jesse grabs Ellie's arm. And you're like, "Oh my god, Jesse's here?"
Right.
And it's like I feel like just for that moment, just to sell that moment, we like gave up like 30 minutes of great screen time that we could have had of Jesse and Tommy being like, we need to go after them. We need to go get them. We need to go do this, do that. And it's like, sure, maybe you're losing that one big shocking moment when Jesse comes in to save them. But it's like, I would much rather just have time spent with these characters than have like a huge shocking moment where you're like, Jesse, what's he doing here? You know what I mean? Like I just much prefer that because I love those actors and I really like Jesse's as a new character. I really like his actor. And obviously, Gabriel Luna as Tommy is really, really good. And it's like then we haven't seen Tommy in like 4 episodes until this episode with all the flashbacks. So yeah, that was another big thing. But let me read this chat real quick, and then we can kind of end with just discussing Pedro and Joel kind of specifically. Shelly in the chat says, "The Last of Us. I knew Joel would expire, but I didn't expect it so quick in season 2," which you called, by the way. I was trying to be hopeful, and I was like, "How long do we think we get?" And you were like, "Dude, I would be shocked if it was anything past like next week." I was like, "Are you serious?" Oh, that's why, because episode 1 was before my vacation. That's why it was that long ago. Wow. Who knew when shows are on for that 6 weeks is a really long time for a show to be on now. I knew Joel would expire, but didn't expect it so quick in season 2. In flashbacks, we are pretty much up to when he died in the last episode. If HBO really is going to last 4 seasons as suggested, can Bella carry the show? Yes, to a point. After that, I'm not sure if she or anyone else can carry it without Pedro. Also, a little aside, knowing that Joel is dead so early on, I felt the same way I did when I found out Pedro wasn't in the Mando suit, just disheartened. Yeah, but also it's like I don't understand. I mean, like, yes, you're valid in feeling that and everything, but like, I mean, we've talked this to death for literally years about the Mandalorian, which is like, him not being in the suit, like that does not matter to like in the slightest. Like, like I
to
just
me
like,
personally,
yeah, to me personally, I'm just like, but I totally get for the people that it does, and I totally get for the people that are like whatever. But it's like, hey man, he's a busy guy, and it doesn't mean that he loves the show any less. And that's and that is the disheartening thing is that people and I'll pull a Ken Knapsack here. I will put the blame on Disney for this part, which is, season 1, they were like, Pedro Pascal, that's him. That's him. No one else. Brendan Wayne, Lateef Crowder, I never even heard of them. Now, season 3, I say now, season 3 came out 2 years ago, but they get top billing right with Pedro. It's
Right.
now it's like it's easy to say, that I'm not disheartened about him not being in the suit, but in season 1, the vibe from Disney themselves, from Lucasfilm themselves, was very much Pedro is our guy. He's the guy in the suit. So being lied to, I could see being upset by that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. But also, yeah, speaking of Joel, speaking of Pedro, very good points that Michelle brought up in the chat. So we thank you for that as always. But yeah, let's dive into it. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the Joel's, death scene with Abby and everything like that. But obviously, this week was the big one with Joel coming back in a major way to have this huge episode with these series of vignettes, basically taking us from the events of season 1 all the way up to where we start with season 2, taking us from Ellie at 15 years old all the way up to New Year's 2029, which meets back up with the first episode of the season. So overall, what were your thoughts on everything that we got with Joel, with, the interaction with that, and did it fill out some stuff for you? Like, aside from the comparison to the games, how did you just feel about the emotions of these characters in this show, dealing with everything that we see going on in this episode between the two of them?
Yeah, I thought it was nice to see them have some like good time together.
Yeah.
As far as celebrating, I think it was her 16th birthday, I want to say, or 15th birthday, kind of going to the Space Museum and getting in the Apollo kind of aircraft and all that stuff. Brought back memories of playing the game as well, because I was like, oh, I remember, walking around that thing and hitting the little, prompt button to spin the thing. I think is probably something you do. How about Ellie dropping that kind of bomb, just throwing Joel under the bus in that one moment with Catherine O'Hara's character? I thought was crazy. But honestly, I get that Eugene definitely probably had some time, that he could come and say goodbye. But I also I don't really know how I don't know if you take that risk. I get it. I get that moment. It's like, hey, I gotta put this guy down. He got bit. If we're walking back, we don't know how much time does he have and how far are they as well. That was the other thing. I'm like, they could be like a few hours out.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a few hours. He's got maybe an hour, it seems like, max. Like, are they gonna get back in time? But then at the same time, it's like in that moment with Joel, I'm like, do you have to lie about it? You might as well just tell the truth. Say that you put him out of his misery, honestly.
Yeah.
So I can see both sides, but I think honestly in that moment I kind of side with Joel, where it's like, hey, we can't take this risk, okay? Like this guy could turn at any second, and we're in trouble if he does. Specifically him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I think, like, first of all, WWRGD, what would Rick Grimes do? That guy's getting a bullet to the back of the head no matter what. No way is that guy coming back to the community. And that is the rules. Joel says, you know that we have rules for a reason. And it's Ellie. And I will say, what this show always does and is doing well is the deep buried, like, character work of, like, you're watching the scene, but then like 5 layers under what you're watching is all this other stuff simmering because of what we know has happened between these two characters. And what I mean by that is, like, the moment that, Ellie has obviously a couple of huge moments in this episode, just as much as Pedro is. Like, this episode, again, for me, it's just as much an acting powerhouse showcase for Pedro Pascal as it is for Bella Ramsey, because it's like Bella Ramsey is in every scene of this episode too, or most every scene, and is doing a really great thing. And again, it just goes to show that it's not about the fact that Bella Ramsey is strong enough or isn't strong enough to carry the show, or that Pedro is strong enough or isn't strong enough. It's that this show is never as strong as when the two of them are together. That's really what it is. It's like, I think if 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 Ellie's the one who dies, right? And then we follow Joel. I don't think that automatically means, oh, the show would be so much better if we were following just Pedro. It's like we'd still be going, well, I like Joel and Dina together, but Joel and Ellie, that was really, what the show was. Like Dina is, it's just a cheap replacement for Ellie. We'd be seeing the exact same things going the other way. And I just think the scene where Ellie goes, no, put out your hand. I want to see. I think he has more time.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where she just blurts out the truth to Gale. Both of those this show is entirely about, it's entirely about subjectivity and perspective. It's all about where do you, and I know what you've told me and what everybody talks about that the games are as well. It's like, where do you come down on this moral dilemma at the core of this story, which is everything that happened at the hospital with the Fireflies. But also, it's like Ellie tries to come at him by saying, because you're so fucking selfish, and then Joel just destroys you with this face with, it's because I love you. And it's like, man, Pedro Pascal is such a great actor, first of all. Wouldn't it be great if we could have him in Andor, like with that kind of writing and stuff? Oh man, Pedro Pascal in Star Wars. Could you imagine? You guys need to look at. Is this breaking right now?
Oh yeah,
Danielle is saying, "Hang on, don't." Is this? This is not as of yesterday. This is brand new.
This is as of like 20 minutes ago. I feel.
Okay, hang on. Let's see. First of all, okay, we are gonna get right back to Joel. Actually, one second, guys. Let me wrap up my thought on Joel real quick. Pedro hits us with the it's because I love you so much. Ellie is trying to throw it at him that he is selfish and that he's doing these things, but who is her blurting out the truth helping in that scene? It's not Gale. It's not Joel. It's not the random guy that's standing there. It's certainly not Eugene's memory. You know what I mean? Like it's her serving her own selfish need to see the fault in what Joel is doing and to take, somebody put it very eloquently in this Blue Sky, in this skeet that I saw on Blue Sky, which was like, this show is about in the post-apocalypse, do you do what is right or do you do what will protect the most amount of people? You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of the Maria versus Joel aspect of it. And I don't even pit those two characters against each other, who, by the way, Maria and Joel also have an incredibly beautiful moment together in this, where, in the first 3 episodes, you kind of get the vibe that Maria is a little, maybe just fed up with dealing with Joel's attitude towards things. And then obviously right after Joel dies, it's her responsibility to kind of hold the line and be like, listen, we can't just send 20 people. She's got to be the Mon Mothma. You know what I mean? She goes, we can't send out 20 of our best guys just to go on this revenge mission. So I loved seeing the kind of beautiful moment between the two of them, where she takes the moment after Tommy takes the kid to bed to go, Joel, you are my family. You are, I said that earlier and that was out of line, but I just had to, make an example basically, but you are my family and I am so grateful for you. And I love that moment between the two of them, and the fact that Joel got that moment with somebody, right before the end, which obviously he didn't know at the time. But yeah, my point being, I just think it's very interesting. And the things I do like is that meaty character work that's happening in the show. That is like, she is almost coloring, whether he's doing something good or bad, she's coloring it with this kind of rot that has been eating at Ellie ever since Salt Lake City. Everything he does is passed through her filter of, is he lying to me in this moment? And obviously she says very specifically that it was when he says, I promise, or I swear, that's her saying, you made the exact same face when you lied to me last time. And that was kind of her, displayed as her breaking point. but yeah, I just think that was some of the best stuff in this episode was, uh, which again, I again, it's like it's the push and pull because it's individual things, individual scenes, even individual whole episodes like this one. I think are both being written incredibly well with incredible, rich, nuanced, and layered dialogue that you'd expect from an HBO show. But then when I take a step back and just look at the broader picture, it's just something is just not like clicking with it.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. And
Yeah.
I know I keep coming back to that same similar refrain, but um yeah, we just haven't talked about the show at all. So it's like I'm just getting all my thoughts out there for the first time. But yeah, let's we wanted to keep the show short. So is there anything else you want to talk about, Joel or Last of Us? And then we'll end with the Hunger Games stuff because I still haven't looked at it. I'm still very excited.
No, yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in the season finale and then kind of where that leads to. And like I said, I think they have a chance to. I'm hoping they finish it with a season 3 and they don't end up doing a 4th season.
Yeah, because that was just a day or two ago. That was that Mason or Druckmann that said
Mason,
that?
I thought
Okay.
said that.
Yeah,
and I hope they're able to kind of wrap it up with that.
Before we head to Hunger Games, I don't want to look in the chat to get it spoiled. So, is there any chat? I see we have a couple chat. Is there any chats that are Last of Us related before we move on?
No.
Okay. All right. Yeah, those are our thoughts on The Last of Us. Maybe I'll clip this out. Maybe I won't. We will see. But thank you guys for joining us. If you were just joining us for our Last of Us, let's switch gears here for a second. And I just want to say, it's just me, or is there like way more hype behind this Hunger Games movie than there was for the last one?
I would agree with that. I think it
it's
probably has to do with the casting.
Is it the casting or is it the characters? Because every casting we're getting is a legacy character that we know.
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
X-Men Origins.
me personally, I'm kind of like Danielle tells me who they are. I'm like, who is that again? Like, you know, my memory.
Like
so
character-wise, you mean?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't remember who that is.
Yeah. Well, off the top of my head, some bangers over the past week and a half. First of all, Ray Fiennes is President Snow. Holy shit! That is such great casting.
He's a big villain guy. He loves playing those villains.
He does. He loves playing everything. That guy. Yeah. I love that guy. I don't know his name. I was really hoping for Tom Glenn Carney, who plays Aegon in House of the Dragon, to be young Haymitch, just because spitting image, oh my god, the perfect look. And I don't even just mean the blonde hair. I just mean his face. He just kind of looks like a young Woody Harrelson. And he's a phenomenal actor, obviously. So I was pretty hyped for the guy playing young Haymitch. You know, he's starting out. They said they loved him in his audition, so I trust the casting on that. Before we get to the big one, are you looking at anything? What were some of the big other ones that I'm trying to? Oh, Elle Fanning as young Effie.
Yeah,
perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Maya Hawke, was that big?
Maya Hawke as young Wyrus, who is the TikTok that lady. We got somebody cast as young Jeffrey Wright. I don't remember who that was. Maybe that was Calvin Harrison Jr. Maybe. But somebody was cast as young Jeffrey Wright. And then obviously Jesse Plemons was cast as me. I was cast as myself, where he got cast as Plutarch Heavensby. All right, let's go ahead and pull up Blue Sky, and TJ can stop hearing me ramble. But before we get to this big one, what are your thoughts on some of the cast so far? Where's your overall hype level at for this movie?
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, you saw it.
Sorry.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the movie. I really liked the last one. I would say I've liked all of them. I would say up to this point. I wouldn't say I
really liked the last one.
I'd say I liked it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it since, so maybe my opinion has changed. But I would say I'm not as steeped in the kind of world, I feel like, as a lot of people are. Hence me asking who all these people are, where I'm like, I don't remember any of these names or whatever. But no, I am excited, and this cast gets me a little bit more excited because I feel like there's a lot more heavy hitters in this one than there was in the last one.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I think that's like a perfect way to describe it. I just think it's like heavy hitter after heavy hitter, and I like I did like the old one, and I really I read the first 3 books, obviously, like way back when. I just really like this like Hunger Games world. So it's like if they want to keep just, you know, I know that Suzanne Collins, she writes a lot of books, but like if at any point they want to move past books and just keep making like just start cranking out movies, I will watch every single one of them. The problem is, and maybe they're doing it with this one by stacking it with such a big cast, they got to start making a lot more money. And it's like the Hunger Games movies have always made money, and the last one made a decent amount of money, but it's like to really let this, no pun intended, to let its wings, uh expand or whatever you want to say, whatever that to spread its wings. That's what I'm trying to say. Lionsgate has just really got to like crank this franchise into the next gear. Like this has to be a huge movie to really perpetuate the Hunger Games franchise. Otherwise, I think it's like you had a really good original series and now it's like, you're doing these kind of one-offs. You don't want to get yourself into a Fantastic Beast territory. So that's the only thing that I worry about, but I have extreme confidence in this casting that and I say casting meaning the entire cast of this movie, as in the casting of the film, not a single casting. Which is right here. Kieran Culkin has been cast as Caesar Flickerman in Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. I think obviously we had Jason Schwartzman, who was playing Caesar's father, right? I think. Yeah, Caesar's father or grandfather, maybe in it was who I think was like Cecil Flickerman or something like that. But he was fantastic. Obviously, Jason Schwartzman, very similar coded to Kieran Culkin, I would say, definitely fits that mold. Very similar to Stanley Tucci, obviously, who played the role in the first ones. But I'll be honest, just looking at these two, like what is your take on this casting? Because it's like I think that this is good, but I don't know if Kieran Culkin can actually make that face.
I think he can, and this is just me going off of the performance in those movies with Stanley Tucci. I think he can definitely like emulate that sort of
like
character
Mania?
charisma, yeah, type thing.
Yeah.
Something I did notice, bringing back Francis Lawrence, he directed the last one. He's directed like the last like 3. So I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I did see Billy Ray coming back to write this, which he wrote the first one. And you know what else he wrote? He wrote AMC Theaters, We Make Movies Better, which I just found out on his IMDb.
What do you even mean by that?
That's what it says. He's credited as the writer for the intro for the Nicole Kidman advert.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
I just thought that was something I had to mention. But yeah, no, I'm
thought
excited.
Adam Aaron wrote that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm excited. Like I said, I feel like a lot more stars in this one than the last one. And
just character name
I do wonder how many more are there more books after this that I
no they have only the only movie they ever made that I mean like technically the only Funny Business they've ever done was Splitting Mockingjay. Like there are what is it, there's including this one, there's 6 movies and 5 books. So it's like she writes but they're always announced. It's like Suzanne Collins has like a deal with Lionsgate where it's like they announced this book the same day they announced this movie. So it was like, and then she wrote the book over like a year and a half. The book just came out a few months ago, and now they're starting to film the movie like next month.
Game of Thrones fans must be like pissed.
Yeah,
like, exactly. She just keeps writing these books, and we can't even get another one. We can't get one.
or even not to get into stepping on too big of a landmine, but like even with like Harry Potter, it's like she wrote the series and then just stopped. Whereas Suzanne Collins, it's like she wrote the series and she's like, I could write some more. It's like, you know what I mean? She really straddles that line because it's like somebody like James Patterson or something, or like Rick Riordan, or like even Stephen King, like they just keep writing. Like they just keep writing. Whereas like Suzanne Collins, and I'm sure she has other books that are non-Hunger Games books, but it's like Suzanne Collins, she's just like, I'll keep making them. I'll keep making them as long as you keep making movies out of it. Like that would be interesting to me is, will they ever make a Hunger Games book that doesn't become a movie, or will they ever make a Hunger Games movie that's not based on a book? That's an interesting question that we probably will not know for a long time. But I will tell you this much: if the dailies are looking good on this movie, we're probably going to get another book and another movie announcement before this one even comes out. Because that's what happened with the last one. This one was announced before Songbirds and Snakes was released. And you know what? I do like that movie. I mean, I said that I liked it before, and I know you did too, but like that's just a movie that kind of like came and went in my memory, but I really like all the stuff from Pan Am in that. And I remember the big back and forth with that movie was about the third act, right? Do you remember that everybody was like, the third act kind of like falls apart because the games end. And then it's like the fallout from the games. I like that stuff
too.
Well, that's what I mean. Is that people were saying the third act wasn't really that great, and like you could, did you even need it? Like it just like added 35 minutes to the movie. But I just like being in this world of Pan Am and with these characters and everything like that. And as much as I liked the guy who played Snow, I'm excited to be kind of jumping forward again now. And I'll really be excited to, is it going to be something that stands completely on its own in a great way? Or is it going to be like a bunch of actors, kind of playing dress up as these other characters? So it'll be interesting to see. But anything else you want to cover?
One last thing, I guess. What did you think of the most recent Superman trailer?
Son of a bitch. I liked it. I am
liked it.
I am excited for the movie. I have yet to be completely blown away by like where we're going with all this.
So you're a Marvel shill, is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah. Basically. It's that James Gunn. I don't like any of his movies, any of his non-Marvel movies, of course.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. It's just, again, it's just something there that's like not there. And it did burn me that so much of the stuff was about crypto, and I'm like it was like a 6-month ad campaign just for the dog. And I'm like, what is going on? And I did like this, there was a cool crypto moment in this with the engineer, where crypto kind of punches her and she's like, that dog actually just like hurt me. What the hell? But I liked it, and I liked the eyes up here, buddy, or whatever, whatever he says to him. Kind of a fun play on the pick on somebody your own size. And I
thought that was
I like the Nick Holt as Lex. I like the he's not a man, he's an it. Stop calling him a man, or whatever he says. And then I like the framing device of the interview. I like that whole yeah.
Is just real quick, jumping off that, is there any possibility? I feel like a lot of people are operating under the fact that going into the movie that she doesn't know he's Superman. Are you sure that's true? I feel like there's definitely a possibility where she already knows, and we kind of get over that. We're already
right at the beginning, like that they're already together. Maybe you mean?
Yeah.
Like, is there any world? I feel like people are thinking there's a world where she knows, but they're not together. Isn't that not how it goes?
Either.
Yeah, isn't it like? I think it goes. I mean, obviously anything can change, but like they get together and she knows. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think that she would know he's Superman as being like Clark's friend. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong on that. Like, does Jimmy know? Does
I don't know.
traditionally does Jimmy Olsen know?
That's too in
He
the
didn't
weeds for
know.
me,
Yeah, he
honestly.
didn't
Probably not
know
even
in
in the weeds, but
BVS.
for me,
Yeah.
that's in the weeds. What'd you think, real quick? Guy Gardner slapping away the army. I thought that looked really cool.
I thought that was good. Yeah, I like that. Oh, what did you think of? Did you watch the Peacemaker trailer?
I did.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
Looked good. Looked like the same
Yeah,
show for the most part.
yeah.
Funny. Interested to see how it is connected. It seems kind of, we walk through this door. We're in a universe that
Mm-hmm.
already exists. Maybe I kill another me or something. I don't know, something weird, but
Yeah.
looks
He had a Hoobastank poster on
yeah,
his
looks
wall.
how I would expect it to. I think going back to Superman, my one worry that I said previously is that there's too many characters in this movie, and there's too
Overcrowded.
many things that we have to deal with
Yeah.
when we are basically starting this universe. This is the first movie of this universe. The first, I mean, Creature Commandos counts, but like not really counts. This is like the first real thing, and if this does not do well, we're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're so over.
Yeah.
I I'm two minds of that because people will say the thing of like, well, all movies have characters. These characters are just famous ones. And it's like,
Yeah.
yes, I agree with that 100%. I am not worried at the number of superheroes in this movie.
Right.
What I'm worried about is there's like a transactional value to having a Superman, to having a superhero in a movie. And that's like, if you're going to do Guy Gardner, you better do him right. And it's like, that's what I'm more worried about is it's
Yeah.
like, I'm totally with you that it's like, I think about to Man of Steel instead of what's his name from Law and Order for Chris Melisanti? Is that what his
Yeah.
name was? Okay,
Mhm.
wow, I just pulled that. That guy is in Man of Steel. And he's got like 10 scenes in Man
Mhm.
of Steel and he's just like an army general. And it's like, okay, well instead of that army general, we have Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I don't worry about it on a structural
Maloney.
movie thing. What did I say?
Melisanti.
Oh,
Think
I
you're
think
thinking
I'm
like Sopranos.
or I'm thinking of yeah, or I'm also combining what's her name from Penguin too. Uh Christina Milioti.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're all these Italians from New York. They all need to change their names. Um but yeah, that is what I'm more worried about is
Mhm.
striking the balance more so than the overcrowding. And I think it's really the people I think it's really all just the same worry, which is just is there going to be enough movie to go around to everything that
Right.
this movie is trying to do? And I think it will be very interesting.
I will
But
say
yeah,
recently I've become more and more a Nathan Fillion fan just because we've been watching The
the
Rookie
rookie.
weekly.
Yeah.
And I think I just really like him as an actor. And so I'm
Mhm.
really excited to see him in this movie.
You should
Um,
watch. He was in this movie Guardians 3. He's pretty
oh yeah,
funny.
that one. Um, and then were people really complaining that his he was able to form a hand with his ring and it wasn't some green goo that kind of came out of his like did they expect him to look like Syndrome from The Incredibles when he freezes them in air and it's like a blue outline around them. Like I
Yeah, I
was
don't know.
confused by that. It was
Yeah, I didn't see that complaint, but I didn't. I
yeah.
don't really go. I don't go on Twitter at all, so I don't
Fair
really.
enough. Yeah.
But
Stupid.
yeah, yeah. To me, honestly, it's like I'm just trying to get through Memorial Day with
yeah.
Lilo Stitch and Mission that's about to hit
Yeah.
us. Um, I'll be totally honest. I think like I would be more amped if I didn't have the job I have. I would be way more amped for all three of the big movies in July. Let's
Mm,
just put it that way. If I didn't
yeah,
have
fair
the
enough.
job I had, because all of them lose 10% hype level because
Hmm.
of what I'm going to have to deal with.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because that month is going to be insane. Um, like let's put it this way: the only big movies I've seen this year is Cap, Thunderbolts, maybe one or two. Oh, Warfare we went and saw.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one or two other ones, and then Mission tomorrow. And I don't know, I think the next movie is Jurassic after that I'm going to see. So it's like, I'm going to see all these movies, but it's crazy. The movies are dying, but they've also never been more alive.
Right.
So amen. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, sorry. I'm
I'm
good
happy
there.
to talk. I'm happy to go into any of that stuff. And I'll be happy to talk about those movies when they come. And I would literally love nothing more um than to, and I mean, obviously you guys know, watching this channel and everything, we just don't do, trailer reactions just aren't as big on YouTube as they used to be. We have stopped doing them because I just personally, I'm like, I'd rather skip as many trailers as I can. Like the Peacemaker trailer, I watched that just yesterday for the first time. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even gonna watch it, but then we were looking around YouTube and I was like, yeah, I'll give this a chance. I've already seen all the pictures from it. So it's like, what the hell am I saving myself from? Um but yeah, I love nothing like tomorrow Mission. And I know I just said we're gonna end it, but like tomorrow Mission, I don't know about you, but like I feel like they've been holding back on showing all the stuff from all the stunts this time, which is great. And on a story level, other than I need you to trust me one last time, I'm going into this movie tomorrow. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. It is
He
tomorrow.
could die.
He could die less than 24 hours. And I have no
Interesting.
indication of any
Yeah.
direction that any of this stuff is going to go, and I love that. And so for me, it's like I would rather not get caught up in getting overhyped on Superman to then have an incredible experience on July 10th, when
Mm-hmm.
we go and see it in an IMAX on the biggest screen possible, because I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that regardless. I'm going to see, maybe I won't see Jurassic opening night, but I probably will. But Jurassic would be a really cool drive-in movie. Actually, that'd be a cool drive-in movie.
I've seen, I think, 2 of
All the
them
new
at the
ones in it.
drive-in. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. All right, that will do it. If you haven't already, go on YouTube and watch the 8-minute short film by Colin Trevorrow, where with the Jurassic, the T-Rex at the drive-in. It just made me think about that. That's like maybe the best Jurassic movie we've gotten is that 8-minute short film, which is really really good. I keep wanting to say Camp Cretaceous, but that's like the Netflix kids show.
Yeah.
It's called something. Camp Little Rock, I think it's called. But check that out. Check us out. We got our spoiler free and spoiler filled review of Thunderbolts up on the channel. Obviously, you're going to want to watch that before we get to Fantastic Four, which we talk all about. Go ahead and take a look at last week's live show, where we did about 2 hours, 10 minutes on Andor season 2 fully. And if you're ever on the channel and you don't see anything in our videos tab, it's because basically everything we do is live stream. So go to our live stream tabs and you'll see everything that you haven't been seeing maybe in your video subscription box. So make sure you check that. And anything that hasn't been watched, you should watch it. That will do it for me. I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been another host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And we will see you next time.
Boom.